वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचानूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्या द्रविडं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव त्वमेव सर्वं गुरुरेव देव. Hari Om. We are doing the Panchadasi, 8th chapter, Kutastha Chaitanyam, where the Vidyaranya is trying to emphasize how one can discriminate from the Kutastha Chaitanyam, Chidabhasa from the Kutastha Chaitanyam. Chidabhasa is what I recognize and what it is there due to because of which I am able to recognize, or what I really see is the Kutastha Chaitanyam. Just as I am looking at the moon and the moonlight, now I have seen in and through the moon and the moonlight the sunlight that is shining, illumining the moon. In the same way, I recognize that Kutastha Chaitanyam, the pure, the all-pervading consciousness, through the Chidabhasa, through the reflection of that consciousness by the mind. And reflection depends on the reflecting medium, even though pure consciousness, there is no divisions of any kind. It's absolutely pure, but impurities come from the reflection point. So Chidabhasa has two components. One is from the main light that is coming in, from the pure consciousness. So it borrows the consciousness aspect of it, and at the same time from the medium through which reflection is occurring. So it is of this limitation, just as the moonlight is limited by the moon size. So outside the moon there is a space, there is sunlight there also, but I cannot belongs to coming from the moon. There is no reflection of the sunlight outside the moon, and therefore we think that the sunlight is limited because of the moonlight is limited because of the size of the moon. Similarly, the Mars or Venus, where I am seeing the shining Mars and the shining Venus, but beyond that limits of that I don't see anything, even though sunlight is there. So same way, all-pervading consciousness is Brahman all over. At the same time, that part of the consciousness that is falling on a particular mind, into particular, like on my mind, which is different from the one on your mind, and so on and so forth. Like varieties of spots are there, bright spots on the total wall. Total wall is pure consciousness, and the bright spots are where the reflections are occurring. And the reflected minds are Chidabhasa. And looking from the reflected mind, again you are going to differentiate when the thought rises in the mind, that is further illumined, and therefore we call that, or Vidyaranya calls that as a Chidabhasa, a magnified Chidabhasa, since the magnification of reflection is occurring in the thought or by the thought. And surrounding the thought, what was there? It's a pool of mind where there is also reflection, there is also Chidabhasa there, because without the reflection of the consciousness, mind become unconscious or dead. So because there is a mind is there which has a capacity to reflect, and consciousness is always there because it is ever present, so reflection will be occurring because the reflecting medium is there. So but this reflecting medium is Chidabhasa aspect on the background is not dominant. Only dominant, we call it, is the Sakshi Chaitanyam that is falling on it. Because the reflections are not dominant, we only recognize the pure sunlight that is falling there. In the same way, in the pure background of between the moon and outside the moon, there is a consciousness, a light reflection perhaps of the space, and that I see there is space and surrounding the moon, and that also I can see because of the reflection. So therefore there is a background, therefore I see sunlight there and I see moonlight here. and the same way being emphasized, even though sunlight is there on the moon and sunlight is there beyond the moon. Same way, pure consciousness is there in the mind before the thought arises, and also after the thought arises, and even when the thought is arising. But when the thought is arising, the dominant of the Chidabhasa, reflection of the thought, so dominant that the Kutastha Chaitanyam or Brahma Chaitanyam in the background is not visible. Just as the sunlight is not visible where the moon is, because I am seeing the bright moonlight. Same thing happens in the mind. Mind and the moon are related. So we'll chant the 57 that we completed. Asatyalambanatveena satyas sarva jadasyatu sadhakatvena chidrupaha sada premaspadam spadatvataha. Together. Asatyalambanatveena satyas sarva jadasyatu sadhakatvena chidrupaha sada premaspadatvataha premaspadatu tatvataha. So asatya alambanatveena, because of the alambana, support of the false, because of the support of the moon, sunlight is visible via the moon. That's what essentially. In the same way, the whole world is visible because of the things that cannot be seen. So asatva, even though the world is not really real, but is being supported by something real underneath. So Satyam, the pure existence, Sarvajadasya, in all inert things, is providing the Adhara. So that is essentially one way the all-pervading Brahman is expressing itself through every object that I see is nothing but Brahman, because every object is. When you say object, non-existent objects I cannot see. So only existent object. That means that every object is supported by the existence, that means by Brahman. But I am not able to see the Brahman because existence, pure existence, which is limitless, because if there is an object is, outside there is a space is also is. So existence expressed in the object and existence expressed in the space, and there is no difference in the existence. So existence is infinite, but I cannot see existence per se because it's imperceptible. Only thing that I can see is that which has a guna, that has a rupa. So only objects I see, but in between I cannot see. Existence that is there in the space I cannot see, but I may recognize the space because it exists. Therefore, everything, the existence itself is like a space, infinite, but even the space can go, but I am there as a pure existence because space and time are dissolved in the deep sleep state. That's why Vedanta takes this deep sleep experience as a basis to say that I am beyond the time and space too, because I was there in the deep sleep state, even though there is no time and space. So asatvalambanaktvena, by supporting the false, the pure existence Satyam, Sarvajadasya, all objects are being shown in the presence of an existence, and to Sadhakatvena, through illumination, and Chidrupaha, the pure consciousness, Sada, is always there. So every object is illumined by consciousness, first in the form of existence, and second in the form of a subject validating the existence of an object. So object is because I see or I can infer. So existence of an object is established by the knowledge of its existence, otherwise it is indeterminate. Because in a pitch dark room, I said whether chair is or chair is not, I don't know, because I don't see. So seeing becomes a means of knowledge to say yes, there is a chair, or no, there is no chair, is not there. So existence of an object is established by the knowledge of its existence, and therefore that is, I am illumining the chair so that existence of the chair is being known through the conscious entity that is joining with the existence for me to be conscious of the existence of the vritti, therefore conscious of the existence of the object outside. So that's how, and that consciousness that I am, because I am the one who is illumining every object, if I am not there, the world's existence cannot be established, as in the deep sleep state. When I am in the higher state, I am in the deep sleep state where the mind itself is folded, then where is the objects? There cannot be existence of the object, cannot be established. It may be there, it may not be there, because there is no one to establish its existence. The others are there, even others are not there from my point, because even the existence of others is also folded. So from my point, I am the only one. I have to prove the existence or non-existence. And I am of the nature of here premaspadam, because I love everything because for my sake. That is essentially Yajnavalkya teaches Maitreyi, his wife, in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishads, in the Maitreyi Brahmana, says, "O Maitreyi, says Atmanastu Kamaya Sarvam Priyam Bhavati." For my sake only I love this, I love that, not for the object's sake. Object doesn't care, but I care because it brings me happiness. So I love everyone in the universe only because their love brings happiness to me. I love unconditionally everything only because when I see myself there, because I love myself unconditionally. That means I am full and I recognize that I am the source of happiness, therefore I love myself. I love that object because it's a source of happiness. So anything that is source of happiness, I love. But since I love myself unconditionally, and if I see myself as self everywhere, then I love everything also, because love and ananda are together. Therefore, parama premaspadam yataha. Here, premaspadam tataha. So there is a source of happiness, therefore that is the self that I am. So he is bringing the ananda aspect in the self. He taught existence and consciousness. Slowly you go into the next set of 5 chapters where he is going to introduce ananda. And here he is talking about, introduces the ananda, comes from the fullness. We chant 58. Ananda Rupaha Sarvartha, Ananda Rupaha Sarvartha, Sadhakatvena Hetuna, Sadhakatvena Hetuna, Sarvasambandhavatvena, Sarvasambandhavatvena, Sampurna Siva Sangitaha, Sampurna Siva Sangitaha. Together, Ananda Rupaha Sarvartha Sadhakatvena Hetuna Sarva Sampadavatvena Sampurna Siva Sangitaha. These are all coming from the Shiva Puranam. It says Ananda Rupaha, it is of the nature of pure bliss, because it is infinite. Anantameva Anandaha. That pure consciousness that I am is Brahman, which is infiniteness. Therefore it is full by itself. Therefore it is overflowing happiness. There is nothing other than it. Therefore there is no limitations, because any limitations causes unhappiness. So Ananda Rupaha, it is a Swarupaha of the Ananda. It's not Ananda as an attribute, but Ananda as its own nature itself is Ananda. So Ananda Rupaha, Sarvartha Sadhakatvena, it is being illuminating by every object in the process, and therefore I know this, I know this, I know this. And when I superimpose on top of the knowledge, I like this, I don't like this, and likes and dislikes, because this gives me happiness, that doesn't give me happiness, and so on. I superimposing something, what my likes and dislikes on top of the objects, and that's called essentially coming from the Jiva. Sarvartha Sadhakatvena, illumination is coming by the consciousness, and the likes and dislikes on top of it is being vasanas are being superimposed, and that gives you ragadveshas. So Hetuna, for that reason, being illumined, Therefore, sarva sambandhavatvena. So I am related to every object because I see it, because it is in my mind, and relation comes because I am different from that. That's what is the relationship. So I like this, I don't like this, and this is neutral. It doesn't matter. I don't care for it. So three relationships or comes from every object in the world. So sarva sambandhavatvena. Sampurnaha, I am by myself is full. Sampurna because everything is in me only, because they arise in my consciousness. I am illumining, and therefore I have a knowledge of it. So all objects rise in my mind, because all thoughts rise in my mind, sustained by my mind, and go back into my mind. Every thought is related to the object outside. So all objects in essence are rising in my mind, sustained by my mind, and go back into me. If my mind is not there, no object in the world there also. So therefore, sarva sambandha. So I am related to every object in the world because I am the one who is illumining every object, and every object is in me only. That's what is sarva sambandhavatvena. Sampurnaha, I am full by myself, and I do not depend anything on for my happiness, and that's called Shivaha Sanghitaha. That is the real Shiva. Shiva is the other one is only, we are talking about Lingam. Lingam is that which points to this Shiva. Lingate iti Lingam. That which points to something other than itself is Lingam. Lingam is a sign, and that sign is indicative of something else. That's what we call it, Lingam. That's called idol. Linga idol is only pointing to that Shiva. Say Shantam Shivam Advaitam Chaturtham Anyante Sa Atma Sa Vigneyaha. So Atma is Shivam. Shivam is essentially auspicious, and that is essentially Shiva Sangitaha. It's called Shiva. Now we are not talking about Saguna Ishvara, we are talking about Nirguna Brahman as Shiva. So 59 now. Iti saiva puraneshu, iti saiva puraneshu, kutastha pravivechitaha, kutastha pravivechitaha, jiveshatvadirahitaha, jiveshatvadirahitaha, kevala swaprabha shivaha, kevala swaprabha shivaha. So here summarizing the whole thing together. Iti saiva puraneshu kutastha pravivechitaha jive satvadi rahitaha kevala swapravaha shivaha. Since Kutastha Chaitanyam or Brahma Chaitanyam is independent of Jiva and Ishvara and Jagat also, because Jiva Jagat are only the coming down at the three levels of the transaction level. At the Paramarthika level, there is only pure Brahman, Kutastha Chaitanyam. So this is what essentially the Shaiva Purana is says about Kutastha Chaitanyam. Iti Shaiva Puraneshu, thus has been discussed in the Shiva Purana. Kutastha Pravivechitaha, the pure Brahman Chaitanyam or Kutastha Chaitanyam has been discussed in the Shiva Purana. Jiveshatvadi Rahitaha, the Shiva, the Shiva that is pointing out in the Shiva Purana is here now. He makes it clear. Jiva Isha Ishatvadi. So Jiva Ishvara Jagat. Ishvara comes into picture because Jagat is there. Who is Ishvara? The Jagat Karanam is Ishvaraha. Jagat Karanam is both the Upadana Karanam as well as the Nimitta Karanam. Therefore, that is Ishvara. So, Jiva, Ishvara, Jagat, if all three things essentially Rahitaha. So, there in the Shiva, there is no Jiva, there is no Jagat, and there is no Ishvara. So, because these are only at the transactional level, at the absolute level, Paramarthika Satyam, it is one without a second, and there are no divisions of any kind. It's a pure Satchit Ananda which one cannot reach, nor one cannot know, nor one cannot speak. Yad gatva nivartante aprapya manasa saha namagachati namanaha. And that is a pure consciousness. Then how do we know it? This is how we know it. Because it's a pointing in the direction. So how do you know there is sunlight when I am looking in the full moon? You say there is no sunlight here. It's only moonlight here. I have to recognize the buddhi, and I have to recognize why buddhi is acting like a conscious entity. Using that, I have to recognize, since the buddhi itself doesn't have consciousness of its own, just as the moon doesn't have the luminosity of its own, therefore luminosity is coming from that pure sunlight. In the same way, consciousness coming from the Kutastha Chaitanya. So whether it's a Jima, Ishvara or Jagat, it is a pure consciousness expressing in different ways. So in the Jagat, it is expressing as a Sat, and Ishvara and Jiva both as a consciousness and existence, as well as the Ananda aspects are being reflected there. So Jiva Ishatva Rahitaha. So in that there is a pure consciousness, there is no moon. In the sunlight there is no moon, nor Mars, nor Venus or anything. It's just a pure light. Only in its presence everything is illumined. So Jiva Ishatva Rahitaha Kevalaha Swaprabhaha. And how do I know it? Say the pure consciousness itself, Swaprabhaha, because of which everything else is known. Tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. In its shining only everything is seen. So looking at everything, I should recognize the sunlight. How do you know there is sunlight here? In its light only I see everything else. Therefore there is sunlight. Because all things that I see do not have light of its own. Therefore, if I am able to see everything in the world, it's only because of the pure consciousness that is. That's what has to be recognized. Swaprabhaha. Let's do 60. Maya bhase na jiveshau, Maya bhase na jiveshau, Karoti ti srutitvataha, Karoti ti srutitvataha, Mayika veva jiveshau, Mayika veva jiveshau, Swachedau kacha kumbhavatu, Swachedau kacha kumbhavatu. So here, together, Maya bhasena jiveshau karoti tisrutitvataha Mayika veva jiveshau swachede kancha kumbhavatu. So, Maya abhasena, because of in association with the Maya, that is in association with the Maya and therefore with Chidabhasa, Jivaha Ishvaraha karoti. So, both Jiva and Ishvara is coming in association with Maya and reflection of the local as well as global entity by the pure consciousness in terms of Chidabhasa, you are getting Jiva and Ishvara. So Jiva is Vyashti and Ishvara is Samashti. Vyashti means individual, that is a Jiva, and collective, total is Ishvara. So both are reflections of the consciousness via Maya. If there is no Maya, then there is only Paramarthika Satyam and nothing can be said about it, and there is no one to say about it also. So here, Maya bhasena jiveshau karoti. It is Shruti Tattva. How do we know all this? Because this is what Shruti says. Having heard from the scriptures, Mayika veva jiveshau. So Jiva Ishvaraha Mayika veva. That means they are products of Maya only. Swachede kacha kumbhavatu. And by itself it is pure, as though like a kacha kumbha, means a pot made up of glass. If pot is made up of glass, I cannot see, because glass is transparent, then I cannot recognize that there is something, but if there is something there. At the same time, it is not recognizable through everything. It is, but it cannot be recognized through perception. In fact, in the glass doors, same thing happened in Bombay, where they had a pure glass door without any mark there, and my wife was walking as though there is space and got hit by the glass door, and after that they had to put a cross or something to indicate that there is a block there, otherwise you cannot see. So here, kacha kumbhavatu, a glass pot that cannot be recognized, but it has a utility and all those things also. But it's here the analogy is that it is not perceptible, but it is there, and that's what essentially is being indicated. And what is that perceptible is due to Mayika, products of it, and even the products of Maya cannot be seen, but its products can be experienced, and that's what is essentially being pointed out. So the Maya is actually force of the Ishvara also. So what is a Maya is considered as the Ishvara Parameshwara Shakti, that is, it is a power of the Maheshwara. So it is only a symbolic way of saying, because with the Maya he is creating other things also, even though he himself is a product of Maya. So having created by himself or by the product of Maya, he creates everything else as though he enters. That's what it is. Pravesha means being little exemplified before. Let's do 65. Annajanyam mano dehat, annajanyam mano dehat, swacham yadvat tathaivati, swacham yadvat tathaivati, मायिकावपि सर्वात्मात्, मायिकावपि सर्वत्वात्, अन्यस्मात् स्वच्छतां गतौ, अन्यस्मात् स्वच्छतां गतौ. So annajanyam mano dehat. So dehat, in contrast to the manaha, the mind, is also product of anyajanyam, is also product of the food. So mind is also born out of food only, but at the same time it's not a gross food, it is a subtle aspect of the food. That's why in Veda, in the Upanishad, in the Gita, says there is a satvika aharam and a rajasika aharam and a tamasika aharam. Also aharam is being classified as a satvik, rajasic and tamasic. Satvika aharam is that which makes the mind satvik, and rajasic is the mind that makes rajasic, and the tamasic is the wine that makes the mind tamasic. People, if you eat, that you feel like sleepy, all that, that's coming from the tamasic aharam. So aharam is also because how mind gets affected, because according to our philosophy, the mind is product of the aharam only, and this is illustrated in the Chandogya. In the Uddalaka teaches Swetaketu, oh beta, you starve for 15 days, not more than 15 days, 15 days, but drink water though. So because you have to be alive. So 15 days he was starving, and not only he became physically weak, he became mentally weak, because the mind is not being fed. Not only the body is not being fed, mind is also not being fed. And after 15 days, he will ask to chant the Vedas. He cannot remember anything, because mind cannot recollect anything, because it has no capacity to even do anything, because it doesn't have strength. And therefore, the mind, he proves that mind is also product of matter, but it's a subtle matter. That's why in our Vedic scriptures, there are a lot of traditionally also, don't eat this, don't eat that, don't eat garlic, don't eat onion. There are so many restrictions are put, because the mind has to be sattvic for a sadhaka. And that's what is the implication here. For a king to act, or a one who wants to do, then you need a rajasic food. If you want to sleep and all that, lazy, then you eat the tamasic food. But if you want to think and be intelligent and think deeply, then you need sattvic food. Because sattva guna encourages the knowledge, rajoguna encourages the activity, and tamoguna encourages the inactivity. Inactivity means laziness, procrastination, all that. So if you complain yourself that I am a procrastinated and a lazy, first change your food habits also, along with the mental sadhana too. That's what being indicated here. So annajanyam manodehat. So even though mind is born out of annam, dehat, in contrast to the stula sariram, it is very pure, means it doesn't have that much of tamasic nature and rajasic nature. It has a sattvic nature also. That's why he called it swacham, depending upon the purity of the mind. Swacham yadvat tathaivate. In the same way, maikavapi sarvatmat anyasmat swachhatam gatau. So in the same way, in the maikavapi, in the products of the creation also, there are pure, impure, and so on and so forth. So how is Ishvara created? Ishvara is reflection of the pure consciousness in Maya that is only dominated without any impurities, pure Sattva Guna. Therefore, Sattva stands for knowledge. Therefore, Ishvara is Sarvajnaha because it is pure Sattva Guna there. Whereas in the Jivas, there is an impure Maya where not only Sattva, there is a Rajas and Tamas there depending upon the degree of impurity of the Jiva. So in the Jiva, there is a Sattva Guna, Rajo Guna, Tamo Guna, and these three gunas are not balanced, and depending upon the predominance of either Sattva Guna or Rajo Guna or Tamo Guna, and Krishna classifies Chaturvanya Maya Srushta. Says what? Based on Guna Karma, Guna and resulting actions that are involved. So therefore, even though I may have Sattva Guna, I may be involved in the Rajoguna activities, then that's a classification on the basis of these two. And that's what is because of the predominance of one guna or another, that is due to the impurities coming from the Maya. So, Mayika api sarvatvad anyasmat swachchatam gado. So of all the things in the world, swachchatam gado or pure subtler is essentially that the consciousness, but everything else is essentially is a reflection of that, and reflection depends on the reflecting medium. So it's nothing to do with the pure consciousness. Let's do next one. Chidrupatvam cha sambhavyam, Chidrupatvam cha sambhavyam, Chitve naiva prakashanat, Chitve naiva prakashanat, Sarvakalpana saktayam, Sarvakalpana saktaya, Mayaya dushkaram nahi, Mayaya dushkaram sahi. So here is together first. Chidrupatvam cha sambhavyam, Chitve naiva prakashanat, Sarvakalpana saktaya, Mayaya dushkaram nahi. So Maya is essentially agadita gadhana patiyasi Maya. That's what Shankara says. It is makes impossible possible. And here he is talking about some impossible things that are happening. He says the consciousness is pure and has nothing to do with any of this. But depending upon the Maya, and Maya can create all sorts of things. And here he says Chitvena in the form of consciousness, Eva, like Prakashna. This having known in this way is essentially Chidrupatvam in the pure consciousness is creating the one side Jiva, another side Ishvara. And Ishvara is what? Sarvajnaha. So he is able to create by reflection pure one who has every knowledge. He is called Sarvajnaha, Sarvavit also. In the Mundaka Upanishad, it says he is Sarvajnaha and Sarvavit. So there are two words which mean same thing. One is Sarvajnaha and one is Sarvavit. Sarvajnaha there stands for the para and apara vidyas. One, he knows about the absolute truth, also he knows about the relative truth. Therefore, two words are being used by the Upanishad. One is Sarvajnaha for para vidya and Sarvavitu for apara vidya. So he is, and that is able to be done by Maya itself. So Maya is because of Sattva Guna only it's coming. So therefore, the power of Maya, don't underestimate the power of Maya. Sarva kalpana shaktaya, Maya dushkaram nahi. So there is nothing really impossible for Maya to do it, and that's why it's called Maya. So Jiva, Ishvara are conscious entities and appears to be conscious possible only because of reflections, and therefore nothing is really difficult for Maya. Maya can do anything, and that's what is a illustration of that. Anything that happens is within the Maya only. So therefore the Avyakta Namni Paramesha Shakti Anabhya Vidya Trigunatmika Maya Karyanumeya Sudhiyaiva Maya Yaya Jagat Sarva Mitham Praduyate. That is because of this is wonder of all her. Sannapya Sanno Ubhayatmikano Bhinnapya Bhinno Ubhayatmikano Sangapya Nango Ubhayatmikano Madbhuta Nirvachaniya Rupa. It is wonder of all wonders. You can say it is there, you cannot say it is not there. You can say it has parts, it doesn't have parts. All Everything is not say, is essentially anirvachaniyam, impossible to describe it, and that is the Mahadbhuta. This is wonder of all wonders, and this Ascharyavat Paschati Kaschidayana. So Krishna talked about in different Ascharya. So this is a different Ascharya. The word of world is Maya. Say Daivim Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratchaya. It is of the nature of divine origin. So it's not easy to cross Maya. So Mame Vaye Prapadyante Maya Metam Tarantite. Only by surrendering to me you can cross. And that's what this sloka is being utilized or used to show that you have to surrender to the Lord. It's called Saranagati. It's been emphasized by the Bhagavan Ramanuja for Visishta Advaita. But Saranagati is important, even Advaita also, where I have to surrender all my wrong notions that I am a Jiva and all that. Recognize that using the what it is through the reflection, I have to recognize the pure consciousness. So there Saranagati, according to Advaita, surrendering all my wrong notions about myself, about the world, about Ishvara also. Then only pure knowledge, you can cross the ocean. So the same sloka is being interpreted differently. So let's go to next one. Asman nidrapi jiveshau, asman nidrepi jiveshau, chetani swapnagau srujit, chetani swapnagau srujit, mahamaya srujat cheta, mahamaya srujat cheta, vityascharya kimatrati, vityacharya ascharya kimatrati. Together, asman nidrapi jiveshau, chetani swapnagau srujit, mahamaya srujat cheta, vityascharya kimatrati. So, here giving an example of what's the big wonder of what Maya. Maya can do wonders, but what is their wonder about it? Because you are experiencing every day when you go to dream state. So you are creating the world. So how? Because of a just aspect of the Maya, which we call it Nidra Shakti. Nidra Shakti is this deep sleep state. When you are going to sleep, it has a, we call it sleep, but power of sleep is like a Maya Shakti. It has two powers. One is Avarana and Vikshepa. That's what discussed in the 7th chapter, where in the Ajnana there is Avarana and a Vikshepa in the stages of the 7 stages. So in that we talk about Nidra Avarana. It covers. What does it cover? It covers that I am a waker. So when I go to deep sleep, when I go to sleep, I am in a pure Dunlop bed with AC and all that, and that part is covered, and it's dark outside because I can't sleep in the light. So everything is turned off. So it is dark. Therefore I could sleep. And when I go to dream, then that I am in the dark, I am in the localized in the bed, I am in a particular room, I am in Chennai or wherever, all that is being covered, Avarana. And then Vikshepa is projecting the world of plurality in the dream world. And when I am, and also not only projection, that's called Ishvara. So Ishvara is being created as though, because that is by the Nidra Shakti. And Ishvara is the one who creates also. And he creates with the total vasanas of all people together. All the suppressions and oppressions of my waking state form the basis for my creation of the dream. And there, after creating the world as though, I enter into the world as though one jiva with a body, mind, intellect, separate from the body, mind, intellect of the waking. Remember, I may be blind in the waking state, but I could see clearly 20/20 vision in my dream. And I may be limping in my dream, waking state, but I am an athletic runner in my dream state. So all that contradictory to waking state, I am able to project it and create it. And for a dreamer, it's not like unreal. It is a real. So there is a Ishvara, there is a Jiva, there is a Jagat. If all those things can be done by the Nidra Shakti, now you don't think we can, Maya Shakti cannot do it? It's only just a little bit of mind can do it. What about the global mind? Ishvara's mind created a magnified way. So, Pasyamme Yoga Ishwaram, look at my glory and look at the beautiful sunlight and galaxies, wonder of all wonders. So we go into that detail how the Maya Shakti and Nidra Shakti is being illustrated and how Maya came into picture. With that we stop here now. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.